Commander Vexthor of the Kaldrathi Empire stood frozen in the observation deck, his four eyes fixed on the holographic display before him. The data streams made no sense. They couldn't be real. "Run the analysis again," he ordered, his mandibles clicking nervously. His tactical officer, a younger Kaldrathi named Shiral, worked the console with trembling claws. "Commander, the results are identical. The human ship? It's not responding to any known military protocol." Vexthor had spent 3 cycles studying humanity since their arrival on the galactic stage. The humans had been terrifying. Their regular military forces had crushed the Venix Rebellion in mere weeks, a conflict that had raged for 6 years before Earth's intervention. The way human soldiers fought defied every conventional understanding of warfare. They were relentless, adaptable, and possessed an almost pathological refusal to surrender even when victory seemed impossible. The Kaldrathi had wisely chosen diplomacy over confrontation, but this was different. "Magnify Sector 7, Vexthor commanded. The display zoomed in on a small human vessel, barely larger than a scout ship, drifting near the nebula where the Zathrene pirates had established their stronghold. For months, the Zathrene had terrorized the trade routes, their fortress hidden within the nebula's sensor-dampening radiation. The Galactic Council had declared them an acceptable loss. The cost of rooting them out would exceed the value of the trade lanes. Humanity had disagreed. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human ship," Shiral announced. "It's audio only, music." Vexthor listened to the strange rhythmic sounds emanating from the speakers. Human music was an oddity, aggressive, pulsing with energy that seemed designed to elevate their already dangerous emotional states. Then, without warning, the human ship accelerated. "By the ancestors," Vexthor whispered. The vessel didn't follow any tactical approach pattern. It simply drove straight into the nebula, disappearing into the radioactive clouds where sensors couldn't follow. The music cut out. Silence filled the observation deck. Shiral's voice broke the quiet. "Commander, that's suicide. The Zathrene have 47 fortified positions in there with over 300 fighters and—" "I know the intelligence reports," Vexthor interrupted. His eyes never left the display. 12 minutes passed. Then 20. Then 30. "Sir, we're detecting explosions within the nebula," Shiral reported, his voice rising with each word. "Multiple detonations. Energy signatures consistent with the Zathrene weapon systems going offline. Reactor breaches. Commander, their entire defensive network is collapsing." Vexthor leaned forward. "How many human ships entered the nebula?" "Just the one, sir." "That's impossible." "The Zathrene have—" The human ship emerged from the nebula like a wraith, its hull scorched but intact. Behind it, the nebula lit up with a cascade of secondary explosions as the pirate stronghold tore itself apart from within. A new transmission arrived. This time it was visual. A human appeared on screen, a female with dark skin and eyes that seemed to contain the void itself. Her uniform was different from the regular human military forces Vexthor had studied. Simpler. No decorations, no rank insignia visible, just a small patch on her shoulder depicting a skull pierced by a trident. "This is Operator Khan to Kaldrathi Observation Vessel Delta 9, she said, her voice calm, almost bored. "The Zathrene stronghold has been neutralized. Trade routes are clear. You can inform the Galactic Council that the acceptable loss has been made unacceptable." Vexthor found his voice. "You—" "One ship." "How did you—" "One ship," Khan confirmed. 6 operators. The Zathrene won't be a problem anymore." She paused and something that might have been a smile crossed her face. "You should update your intelligence files, Commander. What you've been calling human regular forces? Those are just our military. What you just witnessed," she gestured behind her, where 5 other humans stood in the shadows, their faces painted in patterns that seemed designed to trigger primal fear. "We call special forces." The transmission ended. Shiral turned to his commander, his mandibles trembling. 6 humans destroyed an entire pirate armada that the Galactic Council deemed too dangerous to engage. Vexthor was already accessing the diplomatic channels, requesting an emergency session with the human ambassador. The galaxy had made calculations based on humanity's regular military, their ships, their soldiers, their tactics. Those calculations had already inspired caution, respect, and in some species outright terror. But special forces? The humans had an entirely separate tier of warrior, a classification beyond their already formidable standard troops. Chiral, send a priority message to High Command, Vexthor ordered, his voice steady, despite the dread settling in his chest. We need to revise every strategic assessment of human military capability. Immediately. As the young officer worked, Vexthor pulled up the files on human military structure. He'd studied them extensively, memorizing every detail about their armies, navies, and marine forces. But there, buried in subsections he'd previously dismissed as irrelevant minutiae, were the references. Special Operations, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, SAS, Spetsnaz, units with strange names and shadowy histories. He'd read the reports from species who'd fought humanity. The stories of human regular forces who would charge through kill zones that should have been impassable, who would fight for days without rest, who treated injury as mere inconvenience. He'd dismissed some accounts as exaggeration born from trauma. Now he understood. Those hadn't been their best. Those had been their standard. The observation deck's alarm chimed softly. A new vessel was approaching their position. Vexthor's blood went cold when he saw the identification. UNSC designation Ghost Protocol. Another special operations vessel. A new transmission arrived. Another human operator. This one male with a scar running down his face and eyes that had seen too much. Commander Vexthor, the human said, your government has requested a training exchange program. Your high command wants to understand human special operations doctrine. The operator's expression was unreadable. We're here to demonstrate. Vexthor realized in that moment that the galaxy had been playing a game without understanding the rules. Humanity hadn't shown them their warriors. They'd shown them their soldiers. There was apparently a profound difference. Understood, Vexthor replied, because what else could he say? As the transmission ended, he turned to Chiral. Update the threat assessment matrix. Classification, Human Special Forces. Threat level. He paused, searching for adequate terminology in a database designed for conventional military analysis. Create a new category. Apex. The young officer nodded, but Vexthor could see the question in his eyes that mirrored his own thoughts. If these are their special forces, what else haven't they shown us? In the vast darkness of space, the human ships drifted silently, and Commander Vexthor understood that the galaxy's greatest mercy was that humanity had chosen to be friends, because making them enemies would be the last mistake anyone would ever make.